Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a personal favorite, an overpowering and imposing presence on the wrist, one of the most beautiful, compelling, and complicated Jaeger-LeCoultre watches ever made. Launched in 2005, the Grand Reveil was the sequel to the late great Grand Reveil Generation 1 and Grand Memovox, two watches combining the perpetual calendar, automatic winding, a moonphase, and an alarm. This is the king of complications, with the romance of the moonphase, the everyday friendly calendar, and the practicality of a ready and waiting alarm. Unlike previous versions, this one features a double moonphase, a complete year, decade, century, and millennium display, and a vibrate ring alarm complication. Now, this watch was launched in 2005, and the model you see here is from the 2005 model year because it has a 1 year only feature that I'm going to show you. Overpowering in its stance, its presence, its colors, and its contrast, the watch is 43 millimeters in diameter on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, so you get a good sense of the size of the watch. It is large. If you're thinking of buying an oversized watch, get something that's big and fine, that has as much class as mass, and this one does. 43 millimeters in diameter, 16.3 millimeters thick. Lug-to-lug is surprisingly wearable, 51.8 millimeters. The lugs are massive and imposing, tall, towering even. I would say they have the presence of a full-sized car. Not a Cadillac even, a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley. I realize that's another brand, but this watch warrants the comparison. 22 millimeters between the lugs gives this big watch a broad stance, so everything looks proportional. And you can see that the strap itself is as thick, meaty, and up to the task as any other component of this watch, as it's thickly bolstered. You can see this is a new piece. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, bolstered monotone stitch with a sheer edge. You can see the layers of construction. And here's the 1 year only feature. This is the second generation Jaeger-LeCoultre deployant clasp, more substantial than the first generation. It also features a fluted center with a blasted base. Now this would be replaced by a less substantial and less massive double fold deployant for 2006. So when you see this clasp, you know that this was the last of the second generation clasps, only available on this model for 2005, the launch year. That's a substantial feature. You can see the case band, like everything else on this watch, just scintillating, overpowering, blunt force, but done with good manners, high polish, and lots of red metal. There is a rather delicate and easily overlooked transitional bevel on the edge of the lug that I love, and look at the attention to detail. There is a kerf underneath each of the crowns to allow you to more easily insert your fingernail for manipulating the crowns for setting the time and the alarm. Now, the watch has a function that allows you to toggle between vibrate and alarm. And you can see how you set the alarm to ring, or the little black triangle, the alarm to vibrate. And the difference is one of tone, sustain, and volume. I may as well show you how this works because I've already teased it. I'm going to show you how first the alarm sounds, and then we'll transition from alarm to vibration. So you set the Memovox, an historic JLC wrist alarm complication dating back to 1950. You set it by aligning with the current time. And when you see that hour hand stagger a bit, that's how you know you hit it. Ring, vibrate. Ring, vibrate. The alarm is a free-hanging bronze gong inside of the case that allows it to have that wonderful bell-like sustain rather than the rattle of a conventional alarm watch. When you set it to vibrate, you can feel it more distinctly through the case. It also has more of a traditional Memovox style rattle in that there is no sustain, there is no real tone, there is no resonation. So you have your choice depending on how discreet you need to be. Now the dial itself gives you a lot of complication. You could see a very complete perpetual calendar, the year, the decade, the century, and the millennium, as promised, All applique rose gold indices, dart style, diamond polished and faceted. You'll also note half frosted alpha hands at center for high contrast against the gloss black lacquered base. There's a double moon phase for the northern and southern hemisphere and a mono counter at 6 that also includes the 24-hour display. The red numerals indicate the danger zone, the time during which you do not want to attempt to set the perpetual calendar. And that's right, it is a perpetual calendar. Day, date, month, all of those year indications, and of course, all of this mechanically programmed because it is the IWC-Kurt Claus perpetual calendar system. Mechanically programmed so you can't accidentally invent a combination of moon, day, date, and year along with month. They all move in steps, so you just advance the watch after it stops to the current date for the month you're in, and everything else moves in sync, so you don't have to do any math, you don't have to look up the moon phase. The watch does it for you. Now the dial is wonderfully lustrous and gloss finish, and you can see that there are actually separate chapterings for each of the registers and a high contrast set of little alpha hands that can be read as white on a black base. It is a rich dial and fully loomed. There will be a loom shot. Turn it all over and you get a solid gold case back. Underneath, Jaeger-LeCoultre manufactured caliber 909. It's essentially a caliber 918 Memovox alarm base with a IWC-Kurt Claus, which does business as the JLC 440C module. So 45-hour power reserve, automatic winding, an advanced unidirectional winding system with unlubricated high-efficiency ceramic rotor bearings. It also features a free-sprung balance with a laser-welded hairspring at both the stud and the collet. The two features laser-welded hairspring and free-sprung, allowing the watch to be highly shock-tolerant. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and in case you missed, there is a center seconds hand that is subject to stop seconds. So you can set this perpetual calendar to increments as short as 1 second, precisely against a reference time. Now the movement, protected down to 50 meters water resistance, solidly more than you'd expect for a dress watch, features 36 jewels and 349 parts. It is very complicated. It does feature the Master 1000 hours chronometry certification, and you can see back in the day, JLC, even on steel master control watches, would feature a gold medallion on the case back with individual numbering attesting to the watch's passage of this 40-plus day test of winding efficiency, power reserve, water resistance, overall wearability, and of course chronometric precision. A watch that is the full package. If bigger is better, this is as good as it gets. The Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Reveil Generation 2, 43 millimeters in red gold. See it and make it yours. Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Reveil, all of that and fully loomed.